occurred in some of these places. No fewer than 17 persons were killed in Abuja, Kano, Niger, Borno, Kaduna, and Jigawa during the End Bad Governance protest which was held across the country on Thursday. One person was shot dead in Abuja and Kano. Two were killed in Jigawa, 6 others were reportedly gunned down by security forces in Niger. While 4 died in Borno and 3 in Kaduna. The rally began peacefully but took a violent turn in some cities, leading to violent confrontation between police and protesters. Businesses, banks, shops, plazas, and some markets did not open due to fear of protests escalating into a crisis. Abuja, the demonstration led the victim who was shot dead along the Kuba Expressway. Amidst all of these things, the President of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is still yet to address the country 24 hours after the protest began. To discuss the unfoldings of the End Bad Governance protest and the implications going forward, I have with me in the studio Professor Greg Obiamalo, immediate past dean of the Faculty of Arts, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Professor of Linguistics. Good morning, Prof, and welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to everybody. Listen.
Prof, what is your assessment of the protest yesterday?
Well, we can see from the videos and some other from the media, we could see that the protest is actually not as peaceful as we thought it would be.
Excuse me, bro.
Yeah, we could see. Yeah.
Please, can you bring the microphone close to your mouth?
Can you hear me?
Please.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. The protest is not as peaceful as we expected or we thought it could be. But that shows you the level of anger among the people. But the president has not addressed the nation up till now. It's something to be worried about. You can see that the protests, except the southeast, other places are boiling somehow. And it's unfortunate that the president has not deemed it fit to address the nation. I don't know what he's waiting for. So I think that's my assessment so far of the protest.
Thank you, bro. Violence was recorded in some parts of the country, particularly Gombe, Kaduna, Kano, Borno State. In Kaduna alone, protesters were alleged to have nearly breached the government house and result was a declaration of curfew in Kaduna State. What is responsible for this kind of violence? This kind of gruesome violence, shops were looted. I mean, what could be responsible for this manner of violence?
Well, I can say that it shows a level of discontentment among the people. Yes, the organizers of the conference called for a peaceful demonstration. But one thing I have noticed about the North is that demonstrations are never peaceful in the North. That's what I have observed over the years. Demonstrations are, violent demonstrations are carried out over things that are more like, something as very unserious issues. And one will wonder, so if you say what is wrong, what caused the violence, it is not just about the nature of the hunger strike thing, but it's been the nature of the North to be violent when it comes to demonstration. So, and that's why if you look at the position of the government, it's more like, well, let's leave this protest because we know what it will degenerate into. So I cannot ascribe the violence to the level of annoyance or discontentment among the people, but it has always been the nature of the Northerners to be violent when it comes to demonstrations. So, but all the same, it's actually the country is there is the effect of the demonstration is being felt everywhere. Even in the southeast, where people have decided to sit at home yesterday, it's also part of the demonstration. We are used to sit at home kind of demonstration, and that's kind of a protest. So that's our own way of showing our grievances.
Yeah. We thank you, Prof. The southeast was particularly quiet. We didn't get, in fact, there was basically no protest in the southeast. Why is this so? Is it that the southeasterners are not feeling aggrieved, just like the rest of the country? Why? What is the reason for the silence in the southeast yesterday?
Well, we've observed over the years that we're always the victim. In fact, even when we are quiet, we are not even sure. Let's wait and see if they won't turn against the Igbos and begin to destroy property of the Igbos. But the decision to sit at home or to stay out of the protest is a good one on our side, because whether we participate or we don't, we will be blamed for what we don't know about. I mean, the whole idea of protests, you can see that the organizers are mainly the Westerners, but yet we will end up being blamed for one thing or the other. So sitting at home, it's not that we are not feeling the impact. Of course, everybody is feeling it. But the decision to sit at home and protest is the best for us. Because when you know that your people are looking for scapegoats, I don't think you want to make yourself the scapegoat. So that's actually the reason why the Southeasterners decided to stay out of the protest. It's not that we support Tinubu's government, no way. But and we are not mocking those who are protesting anyway. We are just saying that this time around, let's do it our own way, which is to sit at home, which we've got used to sitting at home as a form of protest. Yeah.
Thank you, bro. So we can say that the silence of the southeast is a protest in itself.
Of course. Yeah. That's a protest. That's a world protest. Because we have seen it, we've seen it happen. So we don't want to, we are not in any way saying we are supporting this administration. We're not in any way saying we don't feel hungry as others do, but that we need not to be made scapegoats, and we need to protest in a way that our region will still be, will not be seen. We don't want to bring down Nigeria anyway. So we are in solidarity with the protesters, but we are doing our own protest our own way.
Thank you, bro. Bro, I think we are having a little issue with your sound. If you can disconnect the earpiece and let's see what happens.
Sorry, I'm not sure I can. You're not audible enough.
Can you disconnect the earpiece?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Okay. I am having issues with your sound. I'm asking if you can disconnect the earpiece.
Okay, and reconnect. You can hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay, let me remove my earphone. The earphone, maybe. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just position your camera.
Okay. So,
Professor Greg, I want to ask, do you see the protest gaining momentum over the next couple of days? Do you see it gaining more momentum than what it has already gathered over the next few days?
I'm not sure. I didn't hear you. The audio is
Do you see the protests gaining more momentum over the next couple of days? Do you see it becoming bigger than what we saw yesterday?
It depends on government's reaction to the protest. If the president decides to address the country and make some concessions, of course, the protesters will will at least call people to listen to him. But if there is no such coming from the government, then what do you expect? It may gain more momentum because if the government's reaction is to force people and kill people, then there are those who don't mind to die and they'll move forward. And when it gets to that point, of course, we see the example of Kenya. Such a thing can happen here. So it can get momentum. It depends on how the government decides to manage the situation. They may need to make concessions to the people. And those concessions are like cutting down the cost of governance. And that is exactly what people are asking for. Even though there is hardship, if there is genuine commitment on the part of government to show that they have decided to cut down on the cost of governance, then the people will reciprocate and bear with them and give them more time. But if they decide to live the way they live, do the things they do as if nothing is wrong with the country, and you want people to be patient with you, then I don't see them making any impact. I mean, dissuading the people from protesting. The protests will go on. We are waiting to hear what will happen today. That will tell us what to predict what will happen in the next few days to come. Yeah.
Thank you, Prof, for that wonderful contribution. Dr. Arnold Moses joined us while Professor Greg was speaking. Good morning, Dr. Moses. Welcome to the program. Dr. Moses is the co-chairman chairman of the State of Benue State, and he has joined us today to discuss the protests and the bodies of what happened yesterday. Good morning, Dr. Moses.
Good morning, my brother. Morning, Prof, and everyone.
Good
morning.
morning.
Dr. Moses, please, can you change your position, your camera? Very well. Put it in landscape mode.
Is this okay by you?
Yeah, it's kind of, can you change your current location now?
Is my camera okay now?
It's better, but if it's a little centralized, it will be perfect.
All right.
Dr. Moses. While Dr. Moses is trying to get his camera in shape and his sound, Professor Greg, over to you again. In Borno State, a suicide bomber exploded, a bomb was exploded in the state, in Borno State, among the crowd, and 4 people were killed. Moving forward, what measures do you think organizers should put in place in order to ensure that it's more peaceful generally, not just on the north, but across the other states of the federation? What measures can government and organizers put in place to ensure that the protest is as peaceful as it was intended to be?
Okay. Yeah, that's a difficult situation in a country of this level of insecurity. This avenue might, the protest might present an opportunity for the terrorists to strike. And but that's why sometimes, because I want to look at issues from both sides, why the protesters are making demands and insisting that they should protest. If you listen to the IG of police, it was trying to let them know that there are some certain things that could go out of hand. And I think he cited the Borno incident as one of the reasons why they wouldn't want the protest to go on at this time. But it's just that in a situation like this, you cannot help it. You can't stop the people from protesting. At the same time, you cannot, because they wanted to limit them to a particular place where police can give the needed protection and surveillance. But as soon as you called out for protests, you are no longer in control. You can see what is happening in Borno, Sokoto, Kano. The organizers of the protests have no control over what is happening there anymore. The people have gone haywire. And that's why sometimes the best form of protest, as far as I'm concerned, is a sit-at-home protest. If you have all decided to sit at home and close down, nobody will go to office and workers won't go to work. Of course, that's enough impact on the economy. And any reasonable government will feel it and do something quickly to avert such. But so that's the disadvantage of going out to protest, because it can easily be hijacked by hoodlums. But these are consequences, and that's why government should be fast in addressing issues. Instead of waiting for the protest to happen in the first place, you start immediately to address the demands of the protesters so that they don't go to the street. Otherwise, as soon as they declare the protest and they are bent on going to the street, you will no longer have control over what will happen. So terrorists can still infiltrate the ranks of the protesters. And of course, not just terrorists, hoodlums. They can hijack it and dish out a lot of mayhem on the people. So that is a disadvantage of the whole physical and demonstration.
Thank you, Professor Greg, for that contribution. But we've seen these things, the protests largely channeled towards the central government, towards the federal government of Nigeria. Do you think that state governments can help meet the demands of the protesters? What can state governments do to meet the demands of protesters? Because the onus does not only lie on the president or those governments. It is a collective thing. What can state governments do to help the situation here?
Okay, I'm not sure I got you correct. I got everything because your line is actually not you're not very odd to me, but I could hear state government. What can the state governments do
to help meet the demands of protesters? Do you think they have a role to play in meeting the demands of protesters? The demands are, of course, ending hunger. Some protesters are saying they should abolish the 1999 Constitution. Some of the other protesters are saying want a unicameral legislature and all of these things. Of course, about the hunger and hardship, what can state governments do to meet the demands of protesters?
Okay, I'm not sure I got you, but I heard you talk about state government and what they can do.
Yes.
Is that correct? What state governments can do to help in this situation?
Yes.
Well, the problem we are facing in this country is the issue of the 1999 Constitution, and people have been agitating for restructuring, to do something in a way, because sometimes you keep wondering. They say it's only a fool that will continue to do the same thing the same way, hoping to get a different result. We've been operating this constitution for some time now, and it has not. We're not getting better. So why can't we try something new? And that is why people are worried. If you have tried something over the years and you see it's not working, then you try something new. That is the way to go. So the state governments are supposed to um, do their own part, support the federal government in their own way, provide good governance. Well, we've seen that some states are doing better than others, while some are just there. So, I can say it's a general problem. The states may not have much to do because the states are not because of the hunger, but of course the states can support the federal government by doing the right thing. There are states that are known for agriculture, and they should improve on that. And then, because Benue State is enough to feed the nation, but you can see the level of farmer header clashes in the Benue State that is also, these are things that are affecting food production in the country. And the policy of the government generally that caused the rise in exchange rate and especially the sudden removal of subsidy without any attempt to do things that will balance the economy before removing the subsidy. So that's part of the problem. So the state governments can help in their own way by increasing production on the things they can do better. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Professor. Now, again, I want to mention that the president is yet to address anything. He has yet to make any official statement addressing the country 24 hours after that protest yesterday. Do you think the protesters will listen if the president addresses the country? I mean, gives a speech and addresses the country and says things like that. Do you think the protesters will listen? Do you think they will listen?
Well, the protesters, some people called for this protest. Some people called for it. They gave the date, and they informed the government way ahead of time that they are going to hold this protest from 1st to 10th of August. And government, instead of thinking of what to do, how to improve, and how to dissuade them, they were rather looking for scapegoats. They were rather looking for people to hire for counter protest. So people will listen. Why I say people will listen, if the president or anybody representing the government come out to make genuine statement or things that will be believable to let the protesters know that government is doing something, then I think they will listen. I mean, the leaders, because if the leaders say, well, we are calling off this protest, the protesters will go home. Because that's the way I look at it. If the leaders say, we're calling off this protest, because otherwise, people would have started protesting, but somebody called for it and said August 1, and people came out August 1. So if the same people said, the protest, we call it off for now, while we give government some time to address so I believe people will still listen to them. But and my advice to the government is not to, even if there are places that are violent, if you match violence with violence, what will happen? You can only escalate the situation and not to bring it under control. At that point in time, even those who call for protest will no longer have control over those who they are asking to come out for protest. So it has to be managed. This is a conflict, and people who have knowledge of conflict management should come in here to manage this conflict, because the leaders of the protest can call the protesters, and they will listen. So let government, first of all, do the right thing by addressing the people, addressing the needs, and then let the leaders of the protest call for a ceasefire. That's the way I look at it.
Thank you very much, Professor Greg. We've seen several representatives of government coming out to tell the ministers, the minister of the FCT, several governors have also come out to tell protesters that their demands will be heard. But still, even before the protest, the protests still happen. Is it that it must be from the president? The representative of the government will not serve at this point if they don't hear. That's what you're saying. If they don't hear directly from the president.
You know, I'm struggling with your voice, but let me put it in the earphone so that I can hear you better.
Okay. Why you saw that? Dr. Moses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Dr. Moses, what's your assessment of the protest yesterday, end back governance protest yesterday?
Well, I will call it a starting point. Being a starting point, there were some loopholes on the side of the protesters and on the side of government.
Dr. Moses, I think your network is really poor. If you can switch your network provider, we'll be grateful. While you sort out the network.
Videos.
Please sort out your network issue, Dr. Moses. Dr. Moses, please sort out the network issue. Thank you. Professor Greg. Professor Greg, can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you.
Okay. In this protest, so far, we
I can hear you.
much more violence on protesters in the north than in the south. Unlike the end south, where majority of the protesters were from the south. Why is this so? Do you think this protest has taken an ethnic coloration? Because most of the violence, most of the protesters are from the north in this particular protest. Is there an ethnic coloration to this?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can. It's better. I can hear you, sir.
Okay, so please, can you repeat your question?
Okay, I was asking, in this protest, we noticed much more violence in the north than in the south. Most of the protesters in this particular protest are from the northern part of Nigeria. The violence was from the northern part of Nigeria, unlike what we saw during the NSAS, where most of the protest was majorly from the south. Why is this so? Is there an ethnic coloration to this particular protest?
Okay, I don't know. I heard you correctly, but because the line is breaking still. I got part of what you said. The more protests in the north than in the south. That was what I got at the beginning of your, but I didn't get the last part of your, you were probably asking why is it?
Yeah, we saw the northerners during the
I believe you are asking why is it so?
Yeah, and if there is an ethnic angle or coloration to the whole protest. During President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, where we had the NSAS protest, the North were largely quiet. Most of the protests happened in the South. But in this particular embargo protest, we've seen most of the protests and the violence emanating from the North. Why do you think this is so? Is there an ethnic coloration to this protest?
Okay. Yes, we've seen what is happening. And if one makes or begin to make some input about ethnicity, one may not be wrong to say that, because from what is happening, you could see that more people are protesting in the north than in the south. But hunger is no respecter of person. But you could see actually that the bad economy, bad governance is affecting the north more than is affecting the south. For example, the southerners, especially the Igbos, the southeasterners, are people who can survive so in any situation they find themselves. They'll be managing to live. So they are used to hardship, and they can always find ways of ameliorating or taking care of certain issues. So, but one can actually look at it from an ethnic perspective. I mean, when Buhari was there, the Northerners did not see the need to protest, even though things were difficult. But things actually has become more difficult than when it was under Buhari. And so, and it's affecting the North more than it's affecting the South. That's the way I look at it. And so they are the ones protesting more. So both, all factors should come in here. There is some level, because if you're looking at, you may be looking at it right from individuals. Some individuals are protesting because it is so person that is in power. That is those who refused to protest during the time of Buhari and SARS protests, but they are protesting now because of somebody in power. Many people are protesting because they are hungry. They are genuinely hungry because things are better and things are worse than it was before now. So there are all the factors should come in. It's not just, you can't just say it's because it's ethnic bias or just both of them, all of them are at play here. Things have become, because if things have become better, I mean, if the economy is improving and you call for a protest and more Northerners are coming out, then you will say, oh, it's because it's a Yoruba man that is in power. But things are getting worse. People voted in somebody hoping that the economy will improve. But it's not improving, it's getting worse. So you wouldn't say that it's just because it's because of the person in power. It is because the economy is getting worse. So all of them should come in here. Some level, like I said, some people will, even though because he's a northerner, because he's a southerner that is in power, they are protesting. Some people, so everybody has some kind of ulterior motive why he's protesting, but majority of people are protesting because they are hungry. That's the way I want to summarize it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Gwedu. Dr. Moses, is your network better now?
Yeah, somehow. I was even thinking it's your own network because I was not getting any of your words, but I think now it's a bit better.
Okay. Dr. Moses, what is your assessment of the protest so far? Yesterday's protest, what's your assessment?
Yes, I started explaining shortly when my network logged me out. But I said that I look at the protest in two ways. Yeah. Um, the yesterday outing is just like the starting point. And if you ask me to assess it, I will tell you that I didn't see a beautiful outlook from the protesters. Majority of them didn't come out to achieve the major aim of the planners of this protest. Majority of them came out first to express anger and not to protest genuinely so that they would draw the attention of the government to listen to the cries of the protesters. The major aim of this protest was to draw government attention on its harsh policies, which consequently occasioned the hardship we are seeing today. So the planners of this protest wanted government to open its ears and listen to the cries of the people. The planners of this protest wanted the government to understand that its policies are not yielding any positive fruit. And so there should be positive amendments to some of these policies. The planners of this protest want government to understand that there is hunger in the society. And then there should be need to make amendments on its policies. But what happened yesterday, a lot of people came out, basically, I would say the younger ones rather, they didn't understand. And so they were just out man. But then the manner in which some of them went too far, to me, I will assess it in two ways. Either they were sponsored by the same government who did everything possible to stop the protest from taking place. And so it is possible to assume that some of these people went out because they were promised some certain token, or they were teased to go out and destroy certain government properties or properties of individuals in order to give a bad name for the protest. And so if you ask me to assess it, I will tell you that the people who went out yesterday partially failed, and government equally failed, because when you go out to protest, it is expected that government will give you the necessary protection. But what we saw yesterday, you see thousands of people protesting, and you have just a figment of government securities outside there. How can a crowd of 500 done in order to allow the people to go wild? Our government is able to send 15,000 security personnel to cover just one election. How much more government will not deploy security in the country? And so if you said the people who went wide, it means not come, because it send out security to protect the people and guide their behaviors. Some of the issues you saw yesterday wouldn't have happened. But who knows whether the security was denied to cover the protesters, to allow them to do what government wanted them to do in order to tag the protest a bad one. So these are the issues you have to put in place in order to analyze whether the first outing yielded fruit or not. But for me, partially yielded fruit, because the planners of the protest wanted protest to hold on the 1st of August, and it took place across the Federation. And so whether it failed or not, at least they have achieved the first thing. Government would definitely pay a listening ear to the cries or the demands of the protesters. That's the way I look at it.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Moses, for that contribution, your assessment of the protest. You talked about the protest being partially a failure and partially success on the end of both the government and the people. We recorded there were incidents of violence with some people losing their lives across various states of the federation. What do you think is the reason for this violence? Why was this protest hijacked by certain elements in a bid to thwart the efforts of genuine protesters? What can the organizers do to make the protest more peaceful going forward to avoid any form of violence in the near future? Dr. Moses.
Well, it is important to note at this point that protesters doesn't control the security of a country. Same way the planners of the protest doesn't have their personal security. Their security must come from the government. And so if government decide that it cannot provide the necessary security, I will assure you the planners of this protest will have nothing to do than to allow the protest to continue the way government wanted it to be. Because if government had given a green light for this protest on the onset, then you know that some of the actions are not deliberate. But because government from the onset tried all possible means, spending billions to bribe people, traditional rulers, church leaders, civil society organizations to stop the protest. And it became obvious to them that the protest is not going to be put on hold. And so they just reluctantly allowed it to go ahead. Now look at the letter sent by the Inspector General of Police requesting the planners of the protest to give their details out for security. On what ground? Why would you even send such letter out? The people have their constitutional right to protest. And so if you can't give them protective cover, it's left for you. The protest will continue. The protest is going on. And so it's the duty of the government to protect the people and to prevent destruction of properties. Because if security is out there enough, I tell you, some of this, the young boys you see them doing illegal things will not do it. And again, the planners of this protest should ensure that leaders who are going out to lead this protest identify those who come out with ulterior motive and tame them down. It is high time they identify them and watch over them and even report them to security. If possible, security will pick them out. Because if I'm leading a protest, I should know who is coming out genuinely to protest and who is not out to protest genuinely. And so identifying these people and reporting them to the police, it will help to calm down the incidents of what we said yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful contribution on how the protest can become more peaceful going forward. Back to you again, Professor Greg. What would you propose that that's government? Do you think protesters should take a halt? Because the protest was initially planned for 10 days. Day one happened yesterday. Do you advise that these protesters should stop and then give government the chance to address the concerns?
Okay, the essence of any protest is to achieve results. And so if at the heat of yesterday's protest, government has not said anything tangible, backing down now will just kill the momentum. Because if you simply just back down or give it a halt or pause for the time being, then the momentum won't be there anymore. So the best bet, to me, my advice is that the protest should go on, but the government should do something quickly by addressing it so that it doesn't go on beyond. I mean, the whole idea is to let government know that people are not happy. Let government know that the policies they are bringing out are not. So let them look at the policies. Let them not wait until it becomes too bad. It gets out of hand before they are forced to. Why not preempt the people? And because the idea, what they are waiting is that people should maybe get tired and then. So they don't want to. People won't come out and protest and go home achieving nothing. They want to make sure that something tangible is some concession is made, some tangible concession is made on the part of the government before they back them. So I wouldn't advise I would just halt the protests, but rather let government address the problems quickly so that the protestants can go home before the 10 days.
Of course, we hope that governments will pay a listening ear to the cries and the pleas of protesters across the country so that we can have normalcy over the next couple of days. Dr. Moses, I want to ask you now, do you see this protest gaining more and more momentum over the next few days?
Yeah. Yes, I see it going on. Why? Because just as the Prof have said, if you listen to remarks from some of our radio stations today, you will understand that the government doesn't give a damn to whatsoever the protesters are doing. It doesn't give a damn to even see that some of the demands of the protesters will be addressed in due time. Now, let me just give you an example. I think a few days ago, you had the Senate President made a remark when he went to commission a project of NDDC. I think it was in Rivers or Delta State. I don't know the exact state. And he made a very terrible remark, saying they eat. Now, when you listen to such comments coming from high-profile citizens of this country, you will definitely see that this government is an insensitive government. Our leaders are not ready to make amendments or to adjust some of the policies we're even complaining. When he, as a father, supposed to. So when you see protesters, some of these people going out to protest are tech-savvy. They are reading all these comments. They are listening to some of these radiations. They are on different platforms reading comments from government. They are assessing the media space, what is coming up there. And so it's possible that if they don't read any tangible things or they don't hear any reasonable comments or remarks from the government, it's not possible to back down. The protest is designed to take place for 10 days. And I assure you, may after 10 days and nothing tangible comes from the government protest, you will see it. They may even extend it. And let me tell you, if nothing is done, then you will experience the next stage of which may not be peaceful as planned, but may be violent. Because the hunger is getting deeper and deeper. Prices of items are going, especially, and you can't expect government to keep making these lies that is distributing palliatives. Of course, you see what happened with the palliatives. majority of the items which they have said they distributed to the public are now in the market for owners. These foodstuffs are in the market. The people who are the hem of their face reback these items and sold to the market women. And so the people can have access to it. So it is difficult to say they will stop. The protest will stop until government will respond responsibly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moses. I want to ask again, the immediate cause of this protest is hunger. But looking at the different demands from Mission 1999 Constitution to several other demands, some groups have 10, others have 15 demands. Many of these demands they don't have any relationship to hunger and starvation. What is the major cause of all of these demands? I mean, it's beginning to deviate from what was initially planned. Why are these issues coming up from scrapping the 1999 Constitution to scrapping the Senate and all of that? Why do you think these issues that are not directly national to hunger is coming up at this point?
See, fight issue there is related, has somehow some relationship. Do you understand? Now, if you ask me about the issue of scrapping the Senate, why should the Senate exist in the first place? What is their function? What are their duties? The kind of cost that the Senate is given to the government, I tell you, if that money spent on the Senate alone is used to address food crisis in this country, nobody will be hungry. True or false? Let's assume that Senate is scrapped and we are left with only the House of Representatives. Don't you think the chunk of money that will be saved from the Senate, the institution of the Senate alone, can address food crisis in the country? Yes, the answer is yes. And if you look at the contribution of the Senate in maybe shaping the policies of the government, I tell you, it has no correlation or no human bearing. It doesn't have human faces. Otherwise, there would have been the people to tell the government that no, removing fuel subsidy at this moment is wrong. Mr. President, you can't do that. Because they remove fuel subsidy added to what? Cost of production. And when cost of production is high, the cost of items in the market goes up. The petroleum cost is high, giving rise to high cost is high. The cost of transportation is high. What do you expect? The cost of items will definitely go up. And so why should Senate not tell the government, no, you can't do this? We are representing the people. We have known their feelings. And their feelings is that so if the Senate doesn't have the temerity to do this, they don't have the human set. So you see that it has some levels of relationship. If you are talking about maybe border issues, if the government lock up border and we don't have enough in this country, and there is high cost of local production, why should Senate allow border to be locked? This is the only institution that will talk to the government and the government will listen, because they have the power to impeach. But because their pocket is being taken care of, their stomachs are being taken care of, they have no feeling. If they had, the Senate president would have made that kind of statement. It was a derogatory statement mocking Nigerians, mocking hungry people. So what is the existence of the Senate in the first place? If the representation is not to better the lives of the citizen, I don't see any difference. Whether the demands are millions, I don't see any difference. They have some levels of relationship. That is just what I need to tell you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moses. In your final words, what is your advice to the government and Nigerians going forward into day 2 of the protest?
Well, I will appreciate a situation whereby the government will make some drastic changes. And these changes will be, first, to withdraw the fuel subsidy removal. Because in the first instance, it doesn't exist. So why will you even remove what does not exist? So that statement alone is what occasion a lot of crisis in our country. If government will humbly, I know there is this level of pride that I have achieved it. I'm the first president who has a temerity to remove fuel subsidy, but that is just an empty pride. If government can back down this policy at this moment, I tell you, there will be changes. Again, if government will reduce expenses of political leaders, I don't know how it will happen, because these are representatives don't have this human feeling to say within themselves that it is high time we reduce our cost of living. It is high time we bring up policies and bills that will deal with the welfare of the people. If manufacturing cost is lower down today, I tell you, the cost of items will crash. If government will establish price control policy today and will monitor it, because cost of production is low and then price of product will come down. Government will monitor this and will ensure that manufacturing produce at lower cost, and so a wholesaler sell at lower cost, retailers sell at lower cost, the final consumer will buy at lower cost. The cost of living will be improved. But if all these things are not done, if the cost of governance is not checked, and good, genuine policies are not adopted, and harsh policies are not withdrawn, I tell you, there will be no difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moses, for those very fine final words to Nigerians. Professor Greg, in your final words also, what is your advice to Nigerians and the government going into day 2 of the protest?
Okay, thank you. I think Dr. Moses has captured my submission, but I just want to stress more on reducing the cost of governance. It is very important. I would permit me to mention, assuming P2B was declared the president, no matter how difficult the country will be now, there won't be this level of revolt, because people could see from his life pattern that he is actually in tune with the people in terms of what is happening. So that would make the difference. People should, because when you see why people are angry is that the same government that is telling people to tighten their belts are seen to be very extravagant. I mean, certain things they were doing that ought not to be. So if you know that the economy is so hard, then you should also, as leaders, adjust. So for government to make any impact now, I mean, there must be drastic and radical changes, especially in the area of reduction in the cost of governance. That's what I want to add. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Greg. And thank you everyone for joining the program. I've had me in the studio.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the moderator.
Thank you.
for joining us on this program.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
And that's it on today's program. And of
Bye,
course,
Prof.
keep talking about the unfoldings of the protest as we move into the day two. Don't forget to check our social media handles and of course to get all of the live updates from the End Bad Governance protest. My name is Emmanuel and that's a wrap on today's program. Good morning. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. Yeah,
Bye, sir.
bye.
I can go off, right? Imasha can go off. Imasha can go off. Huh?